So, welcome to the delayed, not podcast. Basically, last week we were meant to do the podcast, but loads of people in Crow Hill were ill, and then we were going to do the same this week, and people were still ill. So I thought it'd be nice just to catch up one-on-one, do an AMA, give you some news about stuff that's going on, stuff that's coming up. Crow Hill is always for me been about community first. I hate the word community. It's so kind of carrot cake and patronizing. It's always been about creating a network first and foremost, and that sounds kind of a bit kind of professional and stuff, but a support network, I think, is what I'm talking about. And we've been very, I wouldn't say distracted, but we've been really focused on getting the company up and running. And that means selling samples, because that's how we keep going. So there's going to be many more of these kind of interactions moving forward. In fact, I've been talking to my good friend Simon about how we can maybe do a regular demo doctor, that kind of stuff. Your recommendations and suggestions we always listen to. I'm going to start today with something that's sad, and then we'll have some music, and then we'll start kind of being a little bit more happy. But I lost a friend yesterday. I don't know when he passed, but I found out about it yesterday. And to say that we were in the trenches together, I mean, as far as my career is concerned, we really were. He was part of the first wave of drum and bass. He was an MC called MC Conrad, Con to his mates. I called him Vu. I won't go into that. And he very much was the partnership that made up the kind of LTJ Bookham and MC Conrad roadshow, if you will. And basically, he'd come to my little project studio in Ladbroke Grove, and we'd record progression sessions, logical progressions. I worked on vocalists and helped him with his Words to Be Heard collective. We were really, really close, an odd couple, if you will. He was a gentle giant. And he was really bad at turning up on time. So he'd always get to the studio, and it would be just before last orders, and we'd get these two ADATs together, and we'd stripe them with MTC, go to the pub, come back, get the DAT of the thing that he was going to MC over, which was often, this may be euphoric recall, but often I think these were about an hour and a half long. We go back to the pub and then come back. And it was always like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when we were set up on the O2R ADATs with these delay feeds. He'd MC, and then he'd record his automation for all the delay feeds. And the reason I bring this up is just to contextualize what I'd like to play is there was a lot of laughter, there was a lot of banter, and there was a lot of connection there. But also there was like real magic. And I have to say that this moment that I've managed to find is like one of the most magical moments I've experienced in a recording studio. This is take 2, but you've got to imagine that he's been MCing and putting in raps for over an hour and a half. And he just comes out with this, and it's something like he's just been set alight. It's absolutely magic. So if you'll humor me, I'm just going to play this down for you to hear, because it's just a really magical moment. And it was him and I in the studio, and for me, it was just like ultimate mic drop. So check this out. Because you love it like that. So this is him MCing.
We'll make it harder for you not to react. You can't make no judgment. It's all a matter of opinion. I like our thoughts to be heard by millions. Ain't no progress without a struggle. And I'm watching the rats leave the pot to watch the pot bubble, but quick. On the double, it's down to a simmer. Cooking up the mind to deliver a winner. In a second, the glance and the flash and the shimmer. We make you shiver. Our sound bless the sinner. Sublimity energy just keeps on building. God bless the path of the musical children. Walking the steps of change. Going forward bound. Music's taking you to higher ground. And I have found the deeper we go, the higher then we climb. Music's making progress in your mind. Get it in tune with the powers of the mystical flow. Something I got to see, got to do, got to know. Yo, when money speaks, the truth is silent, but we don't need no money for the true enlightenment. Cause we're already hyped up, psyched up, ready for combat. Do something logical, you say, how to do that? We put mad skills on the borderline, but we always cope. And if you take big mouthfuls, you always choke. And I don't need no attitude, I got my pocket. Cause logical, freestyle, profile, program to rock it. Won't stop cause your program is crashed and your access is denied.
Just absolutely fierce. And he was, I remember he was gripping onto the music stand where he had his rhymes on as well. Like, my hairs have gone up just listening to that again. I remember it so clearly. Conrad, wherever you are, I hope you've got service, because you'll be really missed, and you'll be amazed at all of the wonderful stuff that's been said to you. I think what's so common with the music industry is these things aren't said whilst people are with us. And I think if there's anything, and I don't know what was what happened, but if there's one thing the music industry doesn't do is look after its talent, and I think that's a terrible, terrible shame, and I hope that changes. And I see people like Ray are talking about it as well. So to lift the mood, we've got a wonderful, wonderful artist to show you down in the library. Her name's Amy. She's done a lot of work with Dot Allison, amongst many others, and I hope this lifts your spirits. Over to Amy.
Thoughts on why does Scotland make good creatives is potentially because of the weather being so bad sometimes that you're forced to possibly be inside more than usual, and therefore more time sitting around writing songs, making art, playing your instrument. My musical journey, I feel like, has been maybe not brief or short, because I think I always liked music as a young child. I always liked singing, but I was really, really nervous to sing in front of anyone. I think I always secretly liked to sing and would like sing in the shower or like sing when I was on my own. But yeah, like performing, or I never played an instrument when I was younger, and it was always for a very long time like something that other people did. It never felt like it was something that I could do or that I thought that I could do. And then I started going out with my partner Cam. His family were very musical, and my parents liked music. There was always music on in the house, but no one really played an instrument or anything like that. So I think he grew up with all that around him. And then when we started going out, he heard me sing now and then, and he'd be like, "You have a really lovely voice. Do you want to sing songs?" I'd be like, No, I don't want to do it. And then he would learn all these songs on the guitar, like my favorite ones. And then he'd start playing them, and I'd be like, no. And then eventually, I think maybe in 2017, he bought me a ukulele, a tenor ukulele, for my Christmas. I think the first song I learned to play was Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, which just had 2 chords in it. And I couldn't sing and play at the same time. And I was literally in my old bedroom and just did it for ages. And it just became like addictive, I think. And so then I just started learning loads of covers. And I think because Cammy was already writing his own songs, that seemed like something that I could do. I was watching him do it. So then I started writing wee songs here and there. Then I wrote and recorded a song and put it online, and loads of my friends really enjoyed it and really liked it. And I think that felt really nice to have made something that people enjoyed. And then started off doing little open mics, little gigs, and then eventually from there, I feel like by playing music, it's kind of changed the course of my life a little bit. And yeah, I ended up going down like a different path, which has been really lovely. In the last couple of years, I spent a lot of time trying to see whether I could be a musician as like a sort of as a job or make a career out of it. I spent a lot of time applying for funding, applying for grants, applying for festivals, applying for residencies, and literally heard nothing back. And it really, really affected my confidence. I found that the rest of that summer, my performances weren't that good because I was starting to get into my head of, oh, well, that project didn't want me, or I wasn't awarded that money, so I can't be that good, or it started to affect me. And I feel like only now am I actually, maybe a year on from that, after like leaving all of that behind, am I feeling a little bit more that I've got my creative spirit back. I feel like it got really lost because I felt like I wasn't good enough, or I didn't deserve to, or I didn't have anything to write about or to that anyone would want to listen to. Whereas from actually taking like a little break from all of that, I feel like I was able to come back to like my more true creative spirit, which is just playing music because I like to do it. And maybe that's the avenue that suits me. And for other people, maybe it works doing it as a career as well. And I think whatever works for you is best. I feel like it definitely wasn't something that I expected to do or something that I expected to enjoy so much. But I'm very glad that I've found it eventually.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, you-hoo, it's 10:15, you-hoo said you'd be up by 8. These winter days are shorter and I know your bed is warmer, but there's a lot to do today. Charlie Gray, scarf and waterproof and welly boots and let the wind blow you out the door. Here on this wee island, we're blessed with a kind of silence that's hard to come by anymore. It's what you're looking for when you're out wandering hills looking out to Morven. You take your fiddle, but it's too cold to play. It's easy to forget when clouds form so heavy that skies can be blue again. Make your way down to the boat, and on the road you stop to post the letters you wrote yesterday. Locals stop you as you pass, news travels fast when you're on a one-road track. What's your crack today? Charlie Gray. Ferry home, the crossing's rough, but not enough to put you off from heading up outdoors, where there's 100 reasons you hate the thought of leaving your home down by the shore, and the women you adore. You'd rather be wandering hills down to Port and Warlock, walking the dock in the horizontal rain. It's easy to forget when clouds form so heavy that skies can be blue again. Cock-a-doodle-doo, you-hoo, it's 10:15, you-hoo said you'd be up by 8.
thanks so much, Amy. It was lovely to see you again. And links to Amy's stuff is down in the video description below. There's a couple of things I just wanted to talk about up front. Something that troubled me was people going, is that it? Vault's over because we didn't do one this month. You would have noticed that Vaults is on Vault's beta at the moment, and we're going to be taking that off. But there's a whole new bit of technology that's got to go in. You may have noticed that if you've downloaded them all, you've had to download them all every time. That's going to change very soon. So I just wanted to jump on that straight away. But I don't know. I think let's start with the AML. I've seen lots of questions that come through, but I haven't looked at them. I've kind of breezed past them because I don't want to think about it too much.
You want the first question then?
Yeah.
Okay. The first question is, are there any planned updates for Vertical Piano? If so, what can we expect?
Well, I think with all of our samples, you can expect upgrades moving forward. We're not I don't know, we put so much work into them that we're really proud of them. We want them, and we've got loads of ideas of how to improve them. So you'll see upgrades for all of our stuff. And I believe with Vertical Piano, there's a softer, I think people are having difficulty accessing the softest layer. And in fact, there's a video that went up on Wednesday of me on a kind of beta of the next version, using that softer. It's just been programmed slightly different, so you can get to it. The piano, because I helped sample it, piano itself wasn't particularly dynamic, but we have done a whole bunch of dynamic layers. I think the problem that people are having kind of detecting the dynamic layers is we're using this phase adjusted dynamic system, so it should be really, really smooth. So if you're used to using sample pianos, you're used to very kind of real contrast between the different levels of playing, whereas this is a much smoother thing. I also believe there is a humidity setting coming on the next version of the Vertical Piano, and I'd be interested to know what you think that does.
And the ability to save your presets?
Ability to save presets. Yeah, we're building kind of wireframes that once we've coded the functionality, that will be available for everything. So the ability to save presets is absolutely something that we're working on.
Next question is, will you do another YouTube video like the Tutankhamun one?
Well, it's interesting because I actually have done several of the Inside Number 9 sessions. I'm working currently on part 2 of Bank of Dave. It's a thing, which will have a larger string section, and I will do one of those for those because, and this is something I'm going to talk about in future videos, I'm going to own both the master and the publishing to the score for Bank of Dave 2, which will enable me to really share the process with you.
Next question is, when is the next composer walk in Edinburgh?
Funny you should say that. I basically did my back in about 10 months ago by lifting a dog into the boot of a car, and I am slowly recovering, but I haven't actually been able to walk that far for a while. I'm basically going to spend the next month trying to get fit to be able to do it. But yes, we're going to have one on the summer solstice, which I believe is the 20th of June. So it'll be early evening, 20th of June. So if you want to come up to Edinburgh or come across to Edinburgh from wherever you are, it's not about meeting me, it's about meeting composers, like-minded people, similar interests. And actually there's a little area that I think we're going to put up a tent, get some booze, maybe a bit of a barbecue. So if you can't make the walk or you're not fit enough to make the walk, there will be access for everyone, even if you're in a wheelchair. So yeah, first composer walk, Edinburgh, June the 20th, early evening, and be sure to subscribe to this channel for more details about that. Closer to the event, I'll probably put an RSVP up so we know how many beers to buy.
Okay. When scoring, do you ever catch yourself spending more time looking for sounds than you do actually writing out parts?
I used to, but I basically, I do. Procrastination is fine at the beginning of a project because it's really good for your to go through the mental process to prepare yourself for it. But what you don't want to do is find excuses midway through a project to fuck around. So what I do is I spend the first week, maybe even 2 weeks of a project, finding sounds, designing sounds, sampling sounds, putting a template together. Thereafter, I'm absolutely religious that I do not use any other sounds than the ones I've created. And the reason I do that is with the almost infinite choice that we have, you can create an emotion by just slapping a different sound on. And I think that's a really poor way to compose. I think the way to do it is to actually find some notes that work to create that emotion. So if you don't have that scraped symbol for the googly man doing the jump scare, then, well, what other way can you do it? Compositionally. And I think that is a more creative way to work. And I think that you can be just totally paralyzed by choice. And that's not a good thing for creativity.
Yeah, a good follow-on question from that we've had is, how are you getting on since you deleted all your old samples?
It's good. I mean, I have to be honest about this. I think what makes humans so extraordinary is the ability to adapt. I mean, that may sound too broad and deep and cheesy, but if there's something that I've always done is to try and turn a bad situation into a good opportunity. And so the reason for deleting my samples isn't because I want a fresh start and because I want to start things from scratch and because I'm overusing stuff and finding the same shapes. That is a byproduct of it. But basically, I'm just in this really odd situation that I'm a composer who has made every single tool that I use or had a part in making. And I refuse to become a kind of victim from this unfortunate situation by getting upset every time I pulled up one of my tools because there were memories attached to those. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like every time you pull up a bassoon, you get a picture of your dead parent or something. You know, it doesn't fuck you up, but it just makes it a bit sad. So what I decided to do is to think, well, what if I were to delete all my samples? How would I benefit from that? And I really am, because I'm just thinking about everything differently, and I feel freer. And it's something I don't know if you've ever had a go through of your wardrobe or your scale electrics when you were younger. I think that kind of flushing out of stuff, of memories, can be a good thing, so that you are in control of those memories and they're there and they're happy ones, but they're not just pouncing out on you all the time. And, you know, as I said, I was in this wonderful position that I just got to make whatever I needed. So I never used anyone else's stuff. So it was a very unique position to be in, and one I didn't want to continue doing because it was sad.
Do you still find time to create music for yourself?
I never have done.
No? Okay.
I mean, I guess when I was a kid, because I didn't realize that I was totally ADHD dyslexic and that there was a reason why I couldn't learn to read music. So I had to do it all by ear and just like watching my teacher see what she was doing. So I used to just get so much more satisfaction out of composing. But my first proper big composition was for my A-level. And from that moment on, it was always about being applied. But I will never do applied music that doesn't stimulate me and make me feel happier as a composer. And I think that that's important. I think that if you allow yourself, and it's happened to me, if you allow yourself become unmoored from what you want to do artistically, then you really are up the paddle without an oar, up the creek without a paddle. That's it. So I think, I think that I like being a carpenter. I like making tables, and if I get a chance to do something a bit quirky or something that people think is beautiful, that's all the best. But if people can't put stuff on the table and it can't stay upright, then I've failed.
Here's a random one. Favorite takeaway order?
Got to think carefully about this, because there's my favorite food, but my favorite food is terrible ordered as a takeaway. We're talking about, let's talk. I do everything Deliveroo. I very rarely go in, and so I would have to say Vietnamese. Yeah, I love a it's spelt pho, but it's pronounced pho, I believe. Yeah.
Favorite 80s vintage synth?
It's got to be. Where's it gone? It's got to be the Juno 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like that for me is the Strat of analog synths. Yeah. Yeah.
How often do you make music 100% in the box?
For the last 2 years, I did a job, animation, which I can't wait to talk to you about, which was 100% in the box. And that's why I got all of this stuff out of the shed, because I knew that it was going to be a two-year long job. And I would just walk into the shed, these wonderful things that I've amassed over the years, going, well, I'm not going to use those for 2 years. And in fact, this week has been the first week where we've really started working with this different stuff. We did this thing called circuit drums, which was manufactured from this stuff. And I think it's just tip of the iceberg of what's coming.
Do you have any interest in creating a kind of internship / apprenticeship at Crowhill?
We do. What we're struggling with is space up here. But it's, I'm really looking forward to a way of being able to open the doors more here, and maybe in other events as well, to give people the opportunity to, touch these kind of things and talk and meet and stuff. It's very interesting what's happening in the UK at the moment. There's a real brain drain up from London into different provinces. So Bristol and Glasgow in particular, finding loads of creatives are moving there from London, because people have realised that working from home, working remotely is absolutely acceptable now. So there's something definitely going on in the Central Belt, and there's a huge amount of talent up here. And also there's studio infrastructures being built. And I mean, if I had one ambition, in a roundabout way of answering your question, I would love to build a complex. That would be my absolute dream. And there is a Pizza Express in Morningside I've got my eyes on, because that'd be ideal. I'll keep the pizza ovens, and that's my favourite food, is pizza.
What is the thinking behind the network dispatch email you sent out, and how do people get involved in it?
Well, I don't like the word community, because it just to me sounds a bit patronising, and it's overused. And community is meant to be everyone, and as you said, Simon, but communities tend to be these little closed echo chambers. So network is, I think, a way of describing maybe a hope from that community of people is that people do network. And you, Simon, and I have experienced that with Piano Book. We have seen people's destinies be altered, shifted, moved, people becoming friends from different parts of the globe and starting stuff up. And that, I would love to continue that story. So the network dispatch is really, all I can say, it's a pledge that we're going to start working on this a bit more, and being just a bit more mindful of involving subscribers, members, the network. And I think something that we're struggling with is thinking about where people communicate. We know that Discord is difficult, that some people find forums like, Internet 1.0. We're not on X and all of that kind of stuff. So, we really do listen to your point of views as well, but we do want to communicate more. We do want to celebrate more, and we are definitely going to provide you with more opportunities moving forward, whether that's to connect or actual material opportunities, or opportunities that have a material impact.
Have you got any advice on working with other composers? How do you deliver feedback?
So, as in, yes, okay, interesting. Something that's really tough with working with other composers is synchronizing systems. And I also think one of the mistakes people make is, okay, this job is too big for me, so I need another composer to kind of pick up, some of the work. And from what I've seen from other people, the more people you hire, you don't half your workload. It's in fact, there's a thing called, I think it's Price's law, where the square root of any institution does 50% of the work. So I think it's really difficult. I think that you do need to be very sensitive. But it's an interesting question. To be perfectly honest, I tried to do it on this 2-year job, and I failed because I'm a total control freak when it comes to my own music. I'm quite good at delegating to orchestrators and just going, can you arrange some bits for brass there and stuff like that? And I think that's a really good thing to do as a composer, be able to delegate and trust engineers as well. But where it comes to actually working with other composers, I don't really have much experience of it, to be honest. As a lead composer with maybe some assistants, I tend to, if there's repetitive administrative stuff, track laying, all of that kind of stuff, I'm quite good at farming that out. So flowcharts, all of that. But that's more assisting than working with other composers.
Do you have a favourite film and TV genre to score?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this job I've just done is a kids thing, and I always had a suspicion that I would love doing kids stuff, but I really like it, because I remember as a kid, part of the fun of watching television was being scared. So I get you can be just full bandwidth with kids. It's not about being cool. It's about and there's so like even like with younger people stuff like working on fresh meat. My pitch to the producers was, when you're using score, we have to go with what those people, those cast members genuinely feel, even if they're being fucking idiots or really overreacting. We have to go with their, the sensation they're having. So yeah, I love scaring kids.
Any chance you'll break out the effects unit from the vertical piano and sell it separately?
If you really, really want it, we'll see what we can do. But it's really, it's really good.
Are there any plans to do an Alice Allen cello vibes library?
I had a meeting with her this week. I don't think there's an immediate plan for cello, but Alice is a kindred spirit. She's an artist, but she's a soundsmith, and I think is going to be an amazing boon to our industry. So we're going to be working with her on something big.
Okay, we have some inside number 9 questions now.
Okay.
How do you feel about composing the music for the final series, and will you be releasing an album from some of the episode cues?
Good question. Inside Number 9, for those of you who don't know, is an anthology series that's been running for 9 seasons, of which the next season starts on May the 8th. You can pick it up on like BBC iPlayer, and I think, those kind of British outlets. It's some of the best telly you're ever likely to see. And if you don't like one episode, it doesn't matter, because it's an anthology. Every episode is different. So I've been working on it for 11, 12 years. They've done 55 episodes, and I've scored 53, because one was scored by Vivaldi and one was based in a karaoke bar. And quite simply, has been one of the most incredibly honourable experiences of my career. But by golly, we go out with a bang. And the first episode that's on is absolutely potty, what we did with the music. And I just begged the dubbing engineer to run the music as loud as humanly possible. So there'll be points where your pupils will dilate if you're listening to it loud on headphones. I would say this next season has the biggest variety of stuff and some truly wonderful scripts, wonderful performances and stuff like that. With regards to the album, my plans for the album, I still have to get permission for the BBC, but I actually own the publishing for all of the Inside Number 9s. So the plan, because it's just, the music tends to be little bits, little vignettes. The plan is to pick my favorite episodes and re-record suites for those. And there's some episodes that are particularly musical, like Zanzibar and the Italian pantomime one, that kind of stuff. And then also big favorites like 12 Days of Christine, which is an extraordinary piece of television. So that's my hope. My hope is to go to Castle Sound with like a Michael Nyman style doubling band and to create a beautifully packaged homage to that decade of working with Reese and Steve and Adam.
How is it going with your switch to Cubase?
My switch to Cubase is, I'm procrastinating a little bit, which is why you'll be seeing tutorials. I'm going to mix up the tutorials because so many people who've subscribed to this channel are Logic users, and I don't particularly want to turn my back on them. But for my professional work, I will be working on Cubase. Again, I just want to develop new muscle memory. So Bank of Dave 2, I'm going to be filming the entire process. I don't know what format that's going to take. But what's going to be funny about that is me trying to write a film score with a piece of software that I don't know how to use.
What advice would you give to people working full-time and with kids on how to be consistent with making music?
This is a really, really good question, and it's really important. I think of all of the things that are most important to forging a career in an art form like this, or even just attending to an art form that you enjoy, is, and it's the rarest thing, is support. And I think that getting the support of and encouragement of the people around you is really, really important. Now, I'm in a situation where I'm married and I have lots of kids. And I think it's about talking to your better half, but also your larger family, to say that I just need a bit of time. I think it should not be expected. It should be something that you say, I think this would be good for me, and I would like, certainly with your other half, I would like to make sure that you feel you can spend some time doing something you love, even if that's golf or whatever. So I think getting support, I think, is a difficult thing, but I don't think it should be expected. I think it's something that you should work towards. And this is something that I really want Crow Hill to forge forward on, because there are certain, they're all cultures. People from all different parts of the world feel differently about their kids or their husbands or their wives going into music. And there's a lot of eye rolling that goes on with this stuff. But I think if you can't get support from those directly around you to be able to come on board this network, and I know that that's happened with Piano Book. I know that people who struggle with scripting, all of that kind of stuff, I would hope to think that Crow Hill would provide that support. Other than that, I think it is about putting aside time, ensuring that time is yours, but then understanding that probably there's someone supporting you there, to give you that freedom, that time, and therefore to treat it like gold and to use it. Maintain your boundaries and switch off your doorbell. One of the problems I find is fucking Amazon deliveries. If you've got kids, there's going to be Amazon deliveries. So I hope that's helpful. But I do see one of the biggest gifts is support. And just speaking to you as a guy with 16, 14, 12-year-old, it does get to a point where they really don't need you as much. And I think for them to see you doing this stuff is really good for them and really good for your relationship with them. I think that the last thing you want to be doing, certainly kids at their age, is waiting for them to come home and go, "I've cooked you this big dinner," and it's like, "No, but I'm having McDonald's with my pals," and all of that kind of stuff. So that would be my advice. And something again, I would really look at the interviews that Ray has been doing recently. But she's just astonished at how poorly treated people are within the music industry. And as far as I'm concerned, as and when whoever asked that question, you become successful and professional, I think it's anyone who demands you spend time away from your family, like working weekends and stuff, just shouldn't be someone that you work with. Flat out. Just shouldn't. They're just not nice humans. I just want to just segue on from that. I saw, I've just gone blank. Steve, white-haired comedian, Steve Martin. There's a documentary out about him, and it's great. And he's as lovely as you'd imagine, and complicated, all that stuff. But I saw an interview with him with people going, how do you become successful? And he just says, become so good at what you do, and good being a very, difficult thing to define, but to become so good at what you do that you can't be ignored. He says, now you can go to parties, and you can go to networking events, and you can do this, that, and the other. You can fight for an agent. You can fight for a manager. But he said, it's far easier to become really good at what you do than trying to become good at what you do in cocktail parties. And I think that's really important, striving for originality and striving to do something so wonderful, people want to work with you. And believe you me, I get no satisfaction out of cattle calls, and like 15 other composers all being asked to, ace it in their first go. I get no satisfaction from winning those gigs. But there's nothing more amazing when someone just rings up and goes, "I'd really like Christian to work on this." And it's happened a few times, not many, but because you've created something that people want specifically. And I think that is what you should aim for.
Is there any additional info you can give us regarding the formulation of a Crow Hill music production library?
The Crow Hill production music library is something I'm absolutely working towards. And I have some really wild ideas to what will make our production music library totally unique. And it's a combination of different factors. I think what's amazing about what we're creating here is an ecosystem. And that is, if we're going to invest in working with some live musicians and giving you that opportunity to work with them, that's going to make some really wonderful content that's going to attract more people to the Crow Hill project. So that's what I'm constructing. That's what I'm pitching, is the idea of it's not just about flopping music out there or throwing shit at the wall. It's about promoting it, celebrating it, understanding the process, but also because I think that we do have a knack at sharing our knowledge and making it engaging. I would really love to engage with editors about how best editors can work with music, with musicians, and with composers. I think it's an angle that I'm really interested in investigating. So these things always take time, and believe you me, the minute I feel it appropriate to announce, I will do. However, we have Simon who is archiving everything that's being sent in, and I will be making an effort to encourage you guys to make more demos and maybe do some like demo doctor fixes and fixing videos and all of that kind of stuff, just to get us all warmed up. But also that piano thing I did, I think there's something in that to possibly create some music that no algorithm could create. And that only comes from having a network of talented people with access to great sounds and great ideas.
All done.
All done.
On that note,
is there anything in the Instagram machine that people want to
I've
discuss?
thrown some in that have come in.
Okay,
but
great.
Nothing pending.
I think what's just really important to remind us all of is that life is short. Don't make it shorter. So look after yourselves. Value the time that you give yourself to make music, and don't devalue the time you should give to yourself and to your family. And by that I mean just spending 18 hours in a studio is a fucking waste of time. 4-5 hours, that's all you need. You just need to understand how to switch off and how to compartmentalize different parts of the process. And I will help you with that. But there has to be a point where you switch off, get off the network, if you will, the internet and all of that kind of stuff, and lose yourself in your music. We all know that when lightning strikes, that inspiration, it's a split second. So why spend 18 hours trying to find that? So I think that's something I just want to keep talking about, and I guess it's in response to losing Con. We didn't look after ourselves, and I hate to think that those behaviours continued, and I suspect they probably did. The life of an MC is tough. I hope the music industry can change to look after its assets, which are its talent, but it doesn't have a great history there, and I think that's really sad. But hopefully we can buck that at Crow Hill and try and think about things differently. And I think what's amazing about it is there's a mass of people, and as we know as humans, it's when you get a mass of people you can actually force change. So it's not all of these things are my narrative, and that's why I'm so glad to have Alice on board. That's why I'm so glad that Dot Allison is our company director, and I'm looking forward to what we can do by harnessing the power of all of these hugely talented, enthusiastic members, networkers, whatever you want to call yourself, crows. And we've had a composer competition. Have we not, Simon? We're going to play out?
Yes. And the winner this month was Who Is Art, and the track is called Will You Ever?
Brilliant. So let's play out with Who Is Art, Will You Ever? Congratulations. We'll get you all your lovely stuff very soon.